This is World War I, as you've never seen it before. This photograph of a battlefield is 100 years old, and it was taken with a 3D camera. It seems quite unbelievable, but there were people using 3D cameras throughout World War I, and these images have remained largely unseen for decades. They had never been shown in their original format before, but they unveil an entirely new perspective. Many of the men who fought kept very quiet about what happened. All the opinions of the war have come from generations that followed. We spent 4 years fighting the First World War, but the best part of a century arguing about it. Over decades of time, we have debated over and over again what could have led to such devastation. Historians and history majors have researched time and time again into their opinion of what started the Great War. Many of those who are actually physically there, unfortunately no longer with us. We have only but stories and history books to tell us what we think the story was. I personally think those men who personally fought in that war deserve better. So using photos and these amazing pictures, I want to try and piece together the story of the real actions that happened. How did we let this happen? These pictures on show capture a lost world. One of horse-drawn carriages, elegance, ambition and sophistication. So how did this once civilized, forward-looking, affluent world turn into this? Before the world self-destructed, it seemed to be in safe hands, Queen Victoria's hands. Her sons and daughters had married into Europe's greatest families, so 3 of the empires who would fight the war were ruled by her grandsons. The King of England, George V, the German monarch, Kaiser Wilhelm II, and the Russian Emperor, Tsar Nicholas. They were all cousins. To give some background, all 3 were part of a massive family. Kaiser Wilhelm was not well liked, him longing for his extended family to love him more. He'd make extraordinary bombastic statements, while harbouring what was referred to as empire envy. Convinced to sanction a massive arms build-up to compensate for his lack of empire, huge investments went into the army. Impressively suited and booted troops, development of bigger and better artillery, and he built a navy that would rival Britain's. None of this earned either the Kaiser or his country many friends. However, it did push the rest of Europe to make a plan to keep Germany in its place. Nobody wanted a big European war, so a number of old rivals decided to play nice and enter into treaties with one another. In 1904, Britain ended centuries of disagreement with its rival across the Channel and signed an alliance with the French. In 1907, France and Russia agreed to jointly declare war on any nation that may invade or attack either one of them. This was done in hopes that it would stop Germany from starting any trouble. This also, geographically, left the Austrian-Hungarian Empire as Germany's only European ally. The irony was, this strategic move to attempt to prevent a war was the very thing that sucked us into one. So what went wrong? No one nation deserves all the blame. It seems to have come from a range of incredibly complicated issues. But what is considered to be the firecracker that started the flame was the murder of the heir to the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. The Archduke Ferdinand had visited London 4 years earlier at the funeral of King Edward VII. On his return, however, this man, 19-year-old Kirillo Princip, assassinated the Archduke in a misguided form of radicalism. There had been a long-running dispute between Serbia, Austria and Hungary over territory. The old empire had uncovered a plot that linked Mr. Princip to the Serbian military. But as Russia had previously promised to protect Serbia from any kind of attack, the Austrian-Hungarian higher-ups had to think extremely carefully about any kind of retaliation, and not forgetting they did have a heavily armed allied Germany on side too. The flame was set on a knife's edge. The world was still very much a place that believed power was the utmost importance, and Germany was confident at that time it could stand against any combination of force against them. That confidence would push them into a war that would change the world, and on July 28th, the Austria-Hungarian Empire would declare war on Serbia. And thus, one by one, countries bound by treaties would fall into war like a line of dominoes. Within 2 days, Russia had begun marshalling its forces. No declaration of war had yet been made by Russia, but this was enough to force Germany's hand. On August the 1st, Germany declared war on the Tsar. 2 days after that, they then declared war on Russia's ally, France. No one could imagine what this had started.